I'm Beverly. I'm sitting on my couch, surrounded by the things that were once stolen from me. The room is filled with a sense of both relief and anger. Just a few hours ago, my life took a turn for the worse, and then, unexpectedly, for the better. I had just woken up from surgery, cancer-free but groggy. Dr. Thompson, a kind-hearted and experienced doctor, told me the procedure was a success. I was overjoyed, but then my partner, Detective Lucas, walked in with a grim face. "Lucas, what's wrong?" I asked, my heart sinking. He pulled up a chair and sat down. "Your neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, called the precinct. She saw people moving stuff out of your apartment. It was your brother, Ethan, your parents, and some guy with a truck. They cleaned you out, Beverly." I couldn't believe my ears. "No, they wouldn't." "That's impossible," I said, shaking my head. But then he showed me the photos on his phone. My apartment was completely empty. All my furniture, electronics, and even my grandmother's heirlooms were gone. Mrs. Jenkins had recorded them through her door camera. I heard Ethan's voice clearly. "We sold her junk. She's probably dead anyway. Stage 4 cancer? She won't need it." My mother added, "She's in surgery. Probably won't even wake up. These medical bills aren't going to pay themselves." And then, the worst part, they sold my work laptop with active case files. Lucas looked at me sympathetically. "Beverly, that's grand theft and potentially tampering with evidence." I was in shock, but I knew what I had to do. "File the report," I said quietly. Against medical advice, I checked myself out of the hospital on Friday morning. Lucas drove me home, or what was left of it. The apartment looked like a crime scene, and it was. CSI had already been there, dusting for prints and documenting everything. They'd taken my bed, the one I'd bought with my first big bonus as a detective. We tracked down the buyer, a man named Mr. Harris. He was running an estate sale business. He cooperated fully, saying that my family had told him I was terminal and had asked them to sell everything. They got $12,000 in cash for all my belongings. My grandmother's ring alone was worth much more than that. I sat on the floor where my couch used to be, in my hospital discharge clothes. The surgical incisions were painful with every movement. I was cancer-free, but homeless in my own home. Just then, my phone buzzed. It was Ethan. "Hey sis. Heard surgery went well. Mom says dinner Sunday." As if nothing had happened. And then a text from Mom, "Glad you're okay, sweetie. By the way, we put your bills on auto pay from your account so you don't have to worry." They'd accessed my bank account, too. Lucas nodded grimly. "They cleaned out your checking. Tried for savings but it was locked." A knock on the door interrupted my spiral into rage. Mr. Harris stood there with two young men. "Detective Beverly, I'm so sorry." When I heard, "We've brought everything back. Every single item." They spent the next hour moving my life back in. My couch, my TV, my grandmother's china, and even my succulents were still alive. I asked about the laptop. "Right here," he said. "Your brother tried to wipe it, but my son's in IT. He stopped him." I was so grateful, tears welling up in my eyes. "Thank you," I managed to say. Mr. Harris said quietly, "My wife's a survivor. 2 years clean. Anyone who robs a cancer patient is a special kind of evil. Your money's in here, too." He handed me an envelope with every penny. Just as I was trying to process what had happened, my door flew open. Ethan stormed in. "What the hell, Beverly? You called the cops on us?" I stood up, my anger boiling over. "You robbed me. You were supposed to be my family, but you took everything while I was fighting for my life." He tried to justify it. "We were helping. Do you know how much those treatments cost? I was furious. My treatments, my bills, my problem. You're so selfish. Mom's crying, and Dad's talking about disowning me? Disown me? You already buried me when you sold my stuff while I was still breathing. At that moment, the door slammed open again. Chief Miller filled the doorframe. He was a tall, imposing man with a no-nonsense attitude. Behind him were 4 uniformed officers. Chief Miller heard about the theft report. Ethan went pale. This is a family matter, he said. Chief Miller shook his head. No, son. This is a felony. His eyes found mine and softened a bit. Detective Beverly, you're looking good for someone who just beat cancer. I thanked him and told him my scans were clean as of Thursday. Outstanding. Now, about this theft report. $12,000 in property, unauthorized bank access, and attempted destruction of police evidence on that laptop, the chief said. Ethan tried to run, but Officer Diaz clotheslined him into the wall. Ethan, you're under arrest for grand theft, identity theft, and tampering with evidence. Ethan screamed, she's my sister. Chief Miller replied, which makes it worse, not better. As they dragged Ethan out, my parents arrived. Mom started her act. Beverly, how could you? He's your brother. I was ready to fight back. He robbed me while I was in surgery, fighting cancer. You said you were trying to help with bills, but by stealing my grandmother's ring and selling my bed while I was unconscious? Dad stepped forward. You're overreacting. Drop the charges. I stood my ground. No. He tried to use his old commander's voice, but I wasn't intimidated. Chief Miller intervened. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, your daughter is one of my best detectives. She's solved 35 homicides, has commendations from 2 mayors, and just beat stage 4 cancer. Instead of celebrating her survival, you robbed her. My parents tried to deny it, but the chief had all the evidence. We have video, bank records, and witnesses, he said. I've lost officers to cancer. Good cops who fought hard and lost. Your daughter won, and you couldn't even wait for her to flatline before picking her bones. Mom started crying real tears this time. The chief continued, accessing her work laptop is a federal crime. Those case files are protected. Your son's looking at state and federal charges. Mom begged me, Beverly, please. I stood up slowly, the pain from my incisions making me wince. 8 months of chemo, radiation, throwing up until I couldn't breathe, and working through treatment because I couldn't afford not to. Where were you? You visited 3 times, and Ethan came once. When I rang the cancer bell, only my nurse was there. Dad said quietly, we didn't think you'd make it. I was incredulous. So you decided to rob me? The house needs repairs, and Ethan's behind on child support? You took advantage of me while I was dying. Mom wailed, but you didn't die. You're fine now. I lifted my shirt, showing the fresh surgical scars. They removed 3 organs. I'll be on medication forever. I can't have children. But sure, I'm fine. Chief Miller stepped between us. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, the DA's office is very interested in this case. Elder abuse laws cover family theft, and judges don't look kindly on people who rob cancer patients. Dad protested, we're not elderly. The chief replied, but she's disabled, temporarily. And that laptop alone is a federal crime. They left, Mom still crying, Dad muttering about ungrateful children. Chief Miller sat down beside me. You okay? He asked. I sighed. My family tried to bury me before I was dead. He patted my shoulder. But you're not dead. You're cancer-free, your stuff is returned, and Ethan's about to learn about consequences. Take the week. Heal. When you're ready, your desk is waiting. I thanked him. Family isn't always blood, Beverly. Your squad's been calling all day. They want to throw you a proper bell ceremony with people who actually care, he said. After he left, I sat in my apartment, surrounded by the things my family thought I'd never need again. My phone buzzed with messages from my real family, the cops who'd covered my shifts, driven me to chemo, and never made me feel like a burden. Ethan was arraigned on Monday. He faced theft over $10,000, identity theft, and tampering with evidence. The federal prosecutor added computer fraud charges for the laptop. He pled not guilty, of course. Mom called one last time. This will destroy the family. I replied, no, Mom. You destroyed it when you decided I was worth more dead than alive. I hung up and blocked the number. 2 weeks later, I returned to work. My desk was covered in welcome back cards, flowers, and a new nameplate, Detective B. Beverly, cancer survivor and general badass. Lucas grinned. Chief's orders on the nameplate. How's the case? I asked. Ethan took a plea. 2 years, minimum security. Your parents are paying restitution to avoid charges, he said. He then told me something amazing. Mr. Harris and his wife started a fund for cops with cancer. They named it after you, the Beverly Survival Fund. The department's matching donations, and the chief's already put in $5,000. I was speechless. Real family doesn't rob you when you're down. Real family helps you fight. That night, I went home to my fully furnished apartment. Everything was exactly where it belonged. Including me, alive, cancer-free, and surrounded by the family I'd chosen. The ones who'd waited for me to ring the bell, not raid my home. The ones who saw my cancer as a battle to support, not an opportunity to exploit. The ones who knew that Detective Beverly wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. Looking back, I remember the 8-month journey in the chemo ward at St. Mary's. It had become my second home. The same reclining chair by the window, the same nurse, Lily, who always saved me the warmest blankets. I'd watch families come and go in the parking lot while the chemo dripped into my veins. One morning, Lily announced, last one, Beverly. After this, you ring that bell. I managed a weak smile. The bell, the famous cancer ward bell that patients ring after their last treatment. I'd watched so many ring it, wondering if I'd ever get my turn. I reminded her, my surgery's next week. Dr. Thompson wants to remove what's left of the tumors. She said firmly, precautionary. Your scans are clean. This is just insurance. Insurance. That's what everything about cancer felt like. The actual insurance barely covered my treatment, so I had to drain my savings, sell my car, and work through chemo because the police department's disability pay wasn't enough. Lily asked, your family coming to the bell ceremony? I shrugged. Doubt it. She didn't push. Over 8 months, my brother Ethan had visited once, just to ask if he could have my gaming console when I was gone. My parents had managed 3 visits, each shorter than the last, and each ending with comments about my job. Maybe you shouldn't have chosen such a dangerous job, Mom had said. Female detectives, all that stress, it probably triggered the cancer. As if solving crimes caused cell mutations. But in the end, I rang the bell. Lily and 2 other nurses cheered. I posted a photo on Facebook, bald head but a huge grin, my hand on the bell rope. My squad commented with hearts and congratulations right away. My family? Silence. The surgery came, and I went under, hoping to wake up cancer-free and that my plants would survive. And now, here I am, having overcome cancer and the betrayal of my so-called family, ready to start a new chapter in my life.